Hello!
And welcome to
Let's Talk About Book.
where we talk about book.
If you heard little pitter-patters, that was Holly getting up right as we started recording.
She like got in my lap, she got all curled up, she was being super cozy, and then as soon as we started, she got up and ran over here.
Yep.
Like, is she learning to just expect that when we start the podcast, that means...
Like playtime or something?
Yeah. I don't know. But, yes,
Yeah.
we're... Smeevca.
And I am Strawberry.
And we're starting a new series.
Yeah, Cradle.
Cradle.
I'm very, very excited.
By Will Wight.
Yes, Will Wight.
Yes.
Will Wight.
Will Wight.
Yeah. W-I-G-H-T. Will Wight. It's just...
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, because it's that kind of white as opposed to W-H-I-T.
Yeah.
But yeah, we read the first half of Cradle.
Yes.
Well, I read the first half of Cradle. You've read Cradle before.
Yes, I have read the entire series. I have not actually read Threshold yet because it just exists. It's a bunch of short stories throughout Cradle, and it's just the only thing I have left. So I haven't been able to get to it yet.
See, that's more people need to do that, because then you can have a sacrificial set of short stories to not read while still finishing the actual series.
Yep, but I do want to read the short stories because I'm
of course.
I'm quite excited.
You,
Stop it! No.
You always want to finish the thing, but you also don't want to finish the thing.
True.
Yeah.
I finished his other, two of his other series. His House of Blades, I think it's the Traveler's Gate series. I finished that series, and I finished Elder Empire series.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I was thinking you finished the other series, but that series isn't even finished itself yet. So.
Which is very fun, the Lost Horizon series.
But you have read it multiple times.
I've read it 5 times, probably. Yeah. It's become one of my comfort reads. I don't have anything, or I just want something that I just know I'm going to have a wonderful time with, and I start to read the Last Horizon series again, and read those 3 books.
Yep.
Yep,
and this time around we're doing things a little different.
Yeah.
Because we're not doing our normal chapter-by-chapter format.
Yeah.
We're just kind of talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's
we'll probably still go slightly in order, but we're not going to go, full chapter by chapter.
Right, and we're not going to try and, not that we do this super a lot in our normal chapter by chapter, but sort of, keeping things to the chapter.
Yeah.
Not talking about later things and stuff. But this time it's just all going to be mixed up. Yeah. It's going to be full spoilers for the chapters that we read throughout the whole video. Yeah. Just so you know. Yeah. And
through chapter 11 is where we stopped.
11? I was thinking 12.
Yeah. So I think it was 11.
Yeah. Yep. So that's what we're gonna be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're now officially in the section. We are talking about the book now.
Yep.
But yeah, I was worried going in that I might not like it.
Yeah.
Partially because when you're it's like an anime, but in book form. And I do love me some anime. It's still just how
anime and what parts and...
Right, how well is this going to come across? When you're it's like a shonen, I'm is it a good shonen? We've been watching Mother Basement?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mother's Basement's trash, hottest trash videos
I love his
and
hottest
stuff.
Trash videos. They're a fun time.
I didn't used to watch them as much, but you really liked the hottest trash ones. And,
when I don't watch him, or I haven't watched him as consistently, every hottest trash video I watch.
Right, so it's the range of anime that exists.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I've been this really isn't related, but I'm just God, hearing him talk about these isekai. I'm I knew...
Yeah.
Because I've seen the jokes, and I knew that the jokes were but
the light novel, titles and stuff like that, or just, the insane isekai shit.
Right, the light novel titles, the weird isekai titles and premises, but it's there's certain big ones that, I would hear about as, a general anime fan.
Yeah.
But because he's doing the hottest trash, you get... the real
insane,
obscure,
just
weird shit
nonsense
that I just wouldn't have encountered
or just
otherwise.
Shit animation and just nothing
Yeah, and I'm just because things like isekai and progression fantasy
it's
lit
such a
RPG buzzwords is this good for the genre or is it good?
Yeah.
Which, you enjoy it, so it's I'm probably gonna enjoy it, but sometimes you have different tastes and things.
I definitely get it.
Yeah, so it's just what's this gonna be like? Yeah. And I enjoyed it. I was oh, there's some clever things going on here.
Yeah.
And you could just, because it's wild. Because we read up into sort of the big, the big event.
Yeah, the big cereal.
Yeah, where it's we start off and it's we're in kind of Naruto world.
Yeah.
In a sense. It's where you have the clan.
Yep.
And then the clan has the smaller, families within the clan, and then, of course, the individuals within the clan. Yeah. And that's how the naming structure is.
All the names.
All the names are clan, family, individual. Yeah. So it's Wei Shi Linden.
Yes. Wei Shi Linden is who we're starting out with.
Yes, is our protagonist here. Yep. And it's Naruto, he's this kid who's kind of outcast. Yes. Because
weaker than everyone,
weaker than everyone.
That was part of early Naruto as well and stuff, and
right. And then it's actually it's because of Fox Demon bullshit.
Yeah.
and but it's no, what if Fox Demon was the basis for our whole clan?
Yep.
Our clan is not
a white fox demon.
Yes, it's not secretly run by a white fox demon. It's just that we've learned all of our shit from this white fox demon, who we keep trapped in a really nice mansion.
Yep.
He doesn't try and escape. He just lives in his really nice mansion that we keep a lot of wards around so he doesn't get out and do things. But this is where we get all our magic from.
They said that he's been let out before and stuff for big events and stuff like that. So it's not he's
he's their sort of patron deity,
basically,
almost. Yeah. And I love that. Oh, that's really fun. That comes a little bit sort of in, but just all the sort of little world building things about this little it's kind of ninja society because everyone's you have these families who are all trying to undercut each other, and they're all about illusions and deceptions and trickery, but also about just being strong and beating the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
Which is where it gets a little bit more Naruto style ninja. Yeah. It's about being strong and being really good at magic, and there's levels and all this sort of stuff, and it's distinct levels.
Yes.
When you become an iron, a physical change happens to you. So it's it's what? How do we arbitrarily demark these things? No, when you go through this magical change, you hit iron.
You can really tell the difference between.
You can tell the difference. Yeah. I don't know if it's as clear with bronze. Does a thing happen?
So it's for copper.
Copper, not bronze.
Yes, you can see vital aura going from foundation stage, which is what Linden is at, to copper. That big kind of difference is that you can see and then absorb vital aura, and turn that into Madra.
Right, you absorb Madra from your surroundings, and that's and he can't do that, so he has to just do the meditation or whatever.
Yeah.
The Madra cycling, and it's we get here's some world building, how the magic system kind of works in a basic sense. We're in this cool village that has a social structure where it's it's about honor and family and stuff, and it's Japanese inspired, but it's not sort of going so hard on the whole my honor. The ways in which you can kind of stereotype Eastern cultures. It's because they rely on sort of shame and honor to enforce certain things. Yeah. And they're that's kind of weak enforcement.
Oh yeah. It's
it's how much can you really
count on that?
Count on that. It's important, but also, people are willing to bend the rules, and if there's not an actual rule in place, it's just it'll be shameful. It's well, maybe you can afford to take a little bit of a hit. Right. Maybe it'll be worth it in the long run.
Right.
It's very interesting, and we could have just been here.
Yep. Yeah.
We could have just...
It's really, fully fleshed out and, very interesting.
We get all of this, personal dynamic.
Yep.
All of this, Lyndon interacting with, like, his family, and his family interacting with the wider community, and, like, getting a sense of, like, who some of the families are, a little bit. Yeah. And, like, getting some of the interpersonal dynamic stuff. We could have just stayed in Sacred Valley the whole time, and it would have, and I think it could have been, like, a whole thing. But instead, it's like, here's his normal world, and we're living in it, and then it gets majorly disrupted by this big outside event. Yeah. This, you know, and then it's like, boom, wider world. Yep. We have a whole wider world. Oh, yeah. And, like, a higher ceiling than we ever thought, and all this sort of stuff, like a big expansion, which is exciting, but I also hope that we still, you know, have
the smaller scale,
some of the smaller scale stuff as well, because it's like, I do want to, like, come back here and see some of this, like, still interesting stuff. I don't want to just, like, leave it behind. And I know that, like, we're not necessarily, you know, just leaving it behind and forgetting about it. But it's just, like, you know, so that's some of the, like, some of the, like, broad stuff. That was just, like, I've been thinking about it. Since reading it, I did enjoy it, and I've been thinking about it more since. So, you know, yeah. Do you have any?
Not specific. We can go kind of through.
Yeah. Just sort of like
more detailed if we want to.
Right. Stuff. Yeah. It's like it's new. We're doing some new format stuff. So I'm like. How do I structure my thoughts and whatnot?
Yeah, we start with so there's all these little, like, things kind of at the beginning, or in some of these little things. Information requested, the spiritual origin test of Sacred Valley, and just, like, beginning report, and, like, at the beginning and ends of some sections and stuff like that.
Right, because we get this, like, lady. Yeah. This anime angel lady. Yes. With the green hair and the eyes.
Yep. And purple eyes and...
purple eyes and green hair. She's fucking Code Geass pod lady. Yeah. The amount of times that I've started Code Geass and watched, like, the first few episodes and then nothing else. With you, even. Yeah. We did that.
We did. I think it's what, C2? People either call her C2 or CC.
Yeah, because it's just like, I don't even, like, that doesn't even... Yep. I'm just like, the green lady that he get the Geass powers from. And that's it. That's all I, like, know.
Honestly, yes. So that's absolutely what she looks like.
Yep. And she's, like, observing Cradle, this planet.
Yeah.
And like, observing, like, the Sacred Valley and stuff. And... knows that, like, something's about to happen. Yeah. But she can't do anything until it happens, and then she comes in and, like, undoes it.
Basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we start with just being like, here's a little, you know, report on...
On like, the origin test. So, like, basically what, like, the test to, like, what is, your...
Yeah, your, like, affinity or whatever it's called.
And it's, like, Enforcer, Striker, Forger, Enforcer, Striker, Ruler, and Forger.
Ruler is such a funny one to me. It's like, why is that... Like, what does Ruler do?
It kind of says, later on that it's, they can manipulate the, like, aura around them, so it's more, like, AoE, type of...
Gotcha. Because, like, Enforcers, their Madrad's, like, on them, like, they basically just, like, physically stronger.
Yes.
Like, they get, like, Madra, like, infused throughout their body or whatever. Yeah, so I guess they're more, like, outside, as they're external rather than internal. Which is funny that they're called Ruler. I'm like, are they like the ones who get to be the leaders, the rulers? I don't know. But yeah, so they do a little test. How old are they when they
first do it? They're 8.
When they first do it, they're 8, and it's like they have a bowl of pure Madra, which looks like water, but it's pure Madra, pure spirit energy, I guess. And you put your hands in, and depending on how it reacts, and that shows your infinity, which is very like, was it like Hunter x Hunter has a thing like that, and so does Naruto even. Yeah. Like Naruto's got like the chakra paper.
I forgot about that. I automatically think of like the Nen test when I think of this Madra.
I remember it because I think, again, Mother's Basement talked about like how the chakra paper is kind of like the Nen test. and how, like, there's a bunch of... Just talking about, like, the various anime that are, like, inspired by Hunter x Hunter. Yeah, because, like, what's the Nen test like in Hunter x Hunter?
It's also with water.
It's also with water.
You don't stick your hand in it. It's, like, over it, and it's whether the water rises and goes over, fills overflows the cup. One is, like, it gets sweet. Like, it changes the flavor. There's a few others, and I can't remember all of them. Those are the ones that are coming to mind right now.
Did I ever get that far?
We were super close.
We were super close, because they had, like, just started, like... Because they were in, like, that tower or whatever.
Yeah. You,
we just started learning about, like, Nen, really.
We were, like, an episode away.
Yeah. We need to watch more anime. Especially now that you can see...
Now that I can see, I've got glasses, so I can see now.
Yeah, you had glasses, but you needed new glasses.
Yes.
And your old glasses broke.
Yep.
And then we glued them back together, but you got these new glasses, and now you can see...
You did a good job gluing them together. I, like, showed my eye doctor, and he was like, this is the best, like, super glue job I have ever seen, so...
Ha 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 ha. That should be my job.
Yeah.
Super gluing glasses together. I can do that professionally, right?
I highlight all of the forager, like all the techniques.
Yeah.
Forager, enforcer, striker, ruler. Here we go.
Gotcha. Yeah. So what do they each do?
So this is just for the path of the white fox. But it's
but we don't really know any other paths yet, or I don't. So.
Yeah. Rulers worked differently. Rather than manipulating their own Madra, they used their Madra as a catalyst to control vital aura. So that's how ruler techniques for, like, any path would
Gotcha. So can they, like, control things that have vital aura? Like, what is vital aura? Even.
Okay, so as for rulers on the path of the white fox, they directed aura of light and dreams to trap their enemies in a fox dream. So it's...
So it's like, what's the difference?
It's like with I'm gonna talk about One Piece for a second.
Right.
It's like with awakened devil fruits.
That it applies the effect to things around.
Things around them.
Well, see,
that's kind of how I thought of it.
Yeah, but like my question, I guess, is what's the difference between vital aura and Madra?
Madra is like what it's processed into, like in your body, and aura is the raw material. The raw material, basically.
Okay. Right. So when...
And there's aura of different type and stuff like that that's turned into Madra of different types. Yeah.
Okay. Because the way he does like the breathing and he does like the Madra cycling.
Yes.
And like builds up Madra. Is that like him converting vital energy into Madra when he does the like meditation thing?
He can't absorb it outwardly, but he's using his he's basically just moving the small amount of like Madra that he has to like just move it around, basically, I think. And doing it in different ways, I think, makes it like...
Do people not have vital aura?
They do.
And they turn it into Madra?
Yeah.
So
he makes like a small amount of that, and so then he uses that personally.
Yeah, so it's like he can convert his own vital aura into Madra.
Yeah, but he can't take in outward.
He can't take in outward. Okay. And that's what he's doing when he does the like...
Yes, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. That's what I was... Yeah. But these people can affect other people's vital aura.
Yeah.
With their Madra.
Yeah.
And what do the others do?
Okay, so enforcers kept their Madra close, even inside. And white fox enforcers deceived their opponents by hiding their steps or subtle movements in a skill called foxtail. Their punches looked slightly longer than they were, their steps shorter, their motions faster, their reactions slower. So it's something that's like kind of directly on and in your body, like making you physically
because their whole thing is like this like illusion stuff. So it's
all of these things will be like flavored that way.
Gotcha. So it's like the rulers, they affect other people, trap them in like they genjutsu them.
Yeah.
While the enforcers use the illusions like on their own body, so that their bodies like seem different when they're doing stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I know that there's like forgers make like magic items essentially.
Yep. So white fox foragers used the fox mirror technique to create illusionary copies of exact appearance but no real substance. Some built false walls or hidden fake trees or adopted the clothes of their enemies.
Right.
And that's... and then forging is also used in soulsmithing. Soulsmithing is like its own...
It's its own thing, but
but it uses a lot of times.
Right, so it's like... One of them's like, I change how my body looks. One of them's I trap you... I like make your brain... I affect your brain to make you see things differently. And one's like, I make illusions like in the form of like... You know, like D&D style, like minor illusion.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Here's an object that wasn't there before. Yeah. But it's incorporeal, but like you see it. And it's like, here's a thing. Yeah.
Yep. And then strikers is I'll just read it out. Cast their Madra out to use on others, and white fox strikers used to manipulate foxfire. They could make a target feel like he was burning to death, or illuminate a target with a spark only they could see, or cloud an enemy's vision with phantom lights.
Okay. So they make like... So I guess they're like evokers.
It's more an individual target like affecting someone, where ruler techniques can affect like a group and stuff can be like a bit bigger.
Interesting. I guess in my head, D&D wise, I'm like, rulers are enchanters. They use enchantments on the opponent, while these guys are more like the evokers, like creating like an effect.
Got you.
Like... Yeah, it's like, I hit you with foxfire, as opposed to, like, which makes you feel like you're burning even though you aren't, as opposed to, like, I trap you in a fox stream, where potentially you could also feel like you're burning when you aren't, but in, like, a different way, because you can change their, like, whole perception, so they're, like, trapped in a fucking, I keep forgetting his fucking name. Itachi.
Yeah.
When Itachi do that one crazy thing that he did to Kakashi that one time, trapping him in the
Genjutsu?
Yeah, getting stabbed forever dimension. I sentence you to the getting stabbed forever dimension, as opposed to I hit you with the fire that doesn't actually damage you.
Yep.
It just makes you hurt. Yeah.
The dogs are being...
They're being very
crazy.
rude. They're doing so much barking. I think in part because of dogs next door.
Yeah.
Getting them riled up.
Yep.
Man. So one of them's like sending Madra out. The other one's affecting someone else's Madra to affect them. Or like vital aura. One of them is keeping...
So they can also... So it's not just other people's vital aura. Because, like, vital aura is also, like...
Right, it's other things have it. But it's like, it's I am affecting the thing itself.
Yeah.
I am taking the thing that is within it and manipulating it, rather than I am sending a thing out to you. That's the point that I'm trying to make.
Okay. I understand.
Yeah, it's like... I affect your shit as opposed to I send my shit at you. Yeah. I affect my own shit, or I form the Madra into a thing. Yes. Those are the different sort of affinities that we have for it. And because they're the Wei clan using this like White Fox technique, it's based around
illusion
and light, and so it takes these kinds of effects. Yeah. It's like that was described.
Yep.
There we go. We got there.
Yep. Yeah. So we were talking about the test.
Yes, the test.
And Lyndon failed a test that you're not supposed to be able to fail.
Right. It's everyone has some sort of effect. Lyndon, no effect happened. Yeah. When he did it, and they were like, "You're unsouled." Yeah. And sold as in SOUL.
Yes.
Not, SOLD.
Yep.
Unsouled. We did not sell you. I kept thinking about that. Like, that pun kept being in my head. Why are the dogs barking so much? They're so rude. They always want to bark while we're recording. It's very rude of them. They have no sense of, quiet on set.
Sister's outside with her dog.
Yeah, and that's getting them all...
It's getting all our dogs riled up.
Yeah.
But
yeah. What were we saying?
He failed the test and is unsouled. SOULD.
Yes. SOULED. Yeah. And I was a bit sort of confused about this as it went on. Yeah. And I was talking to you about this the other day, where it's like it's a test that no one's supposed to fail. And in some ways it seemed like Lyndon was the only person that this ever happened to. Yeah. But they also were talking like they had it's like they had some things in place for the idea of someone being unsouled, but not other things.
Yep.
Right? It's like, oh, we don't have a badge for you, but also there are like rules and laws regarding unsouled, and the way he would talk about it, it's not as if like it's like, oh, unsouled can't marry, not I'm not allowed to marry because I'm unsouled.
Yeah.
You know, it's not.
It's yeah.
It's like, oh, unsouled aren't. And it's not like I'm the only one, even though he is the only one.
Yeah.
So it's like there must have been some in the past, but also we have we have like some rules in place, but also in some ways we don't have any rules in place.
Yeah.
I was a little confused about that.
Yeah, they say at some point it's like, oh, like they don't want him to like pass on like the deformity or whatever, and stuff like that, and just like.
Mm-hmm. But it's like, were these things made up for Lyndon, or did these things exist before Lyndon?
I think they existed in tradition before Lyndon.
Yeah, because he's the only one around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was just like, as we were reading it, I was a little sort of confused on that point. I was like, so is Lyndon the first that this has ever happened to or not?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like he does the test, nothing happens, and he's like, well, like, if it didn't tell me what badge, do I just get to choose?
Yeah, I love Lyndon so much. Like, I love the, like, if you don't have one for me, I could just... Can I pick one? It makes perfect sense to Lyndon. The bull tells them which badge to pick, and the bull hadn't said anything, so Lyndon might as well choose.
Yep. And he wanted to be a forger because his mom was.
Yep.
Or is.
Yep.
And, yeah, Lyndon... I do enjoy Lyndon as a character. I definitely have, like, a soft spot. I really enjoy characters who have to be smart instead of strong, you know? Which is why I love Usopp.
Yeah.
Even from the beginning. Even from the beginning, I love Usopp.
Usopp's great.
Because it's like, Lyndon, he's kind of an Usopp. He's not a liar like Usopp. He doesn't have that same kind of thing going on. But it's like... He will manipulate if needed, and will, you know... Okay, because Lyndon, I love that he has to be clever.
Yeah.
He has to be clever, he has to think outside the box, he has to, like, do things that other people don't normally do in order to try and, like, get ahead. And he is an advantage taker.
Oh.
He will take an advantage. He will lie, cheat, and steal.
Absolutely.
He will bend the social rules. He will, you know, he will socially judo throw you, using your weight against you.
Exactly. He's like, look, I've had to live by these stupid-ass rules my whole life. It's your
problem.
Your turn now.
I'm gonna make it your problem. Yeah. And so it's like this poor little kid.
Yeah, I really like some of the little bits throughout here where it just kind of like describes kind of from a kid's view like all this like tension happening, and like
he doesn't know exactly what's going on, but he can, like, you know, you have that, like, sense. It's like, well, the adults are reacting in this way emotionally, and I can, like, pick up on that and sort of sense what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's like, we're just gonna be real shitty to this 8-year-old.
Yeah, and he's trying to, like, placate and just, like, make things, like, better and it
smoothly.
and it just doesn't.
No, and so then it's like years go by each year.
And he keeps trying... Like, I think every 6 months there's a new test.
Yeah.
So he tries, like, legitimately twice, but he tries and, like, cheats. So he, like, puts his mom's blood on his finger once.
Right, to get her sort of residual madra to activate it.
Yeah, but it doesn't do enough. And then he draws scripts on the bottom of the table, and then the whole table shakes.
Yeah, when it's only supposed to be the water that shakes. If you're a ruler or something?
Yeah, I think
the water shakes? Yeah. It's like if you're a forger, it freezes.
Yes.
If you're a ruler, it shakes. Yep. If you're an enforcer, it, like, sticks to you. And if you're a striker, it, like...
Retreats, I think.
Retreats from you. Yeah. And so he's trying to, like, cheat it. He's trying to, like... Because he's just, like... He needs to. It's like...
Everyone has a badge.
Everyone has a badge. And if you don't... Because it's like he gets treated so poorly for being an Unsouled. Yep. He's seen as, like, useless.
Yep.
And he also just can't do certain things that other people can't. He essentially has a disability.
Yep.
And there's, like, a scene in particular where that gets, like... kind of, like, highlighted that I really enjoyed. It's, like, when he's going to... Like, there's, like, this long staircase to where the White Fox is.
Yep, to Elder Whisper's tower.
To Elder Whispers. And it's, like, it's such a long staircase, but, like... for quote normal people,
yeah,
they can use their Madra to just like make their bodies like stronger and have more like endurance and stuff, and so they can just walk up and no problem. But he walks up and he's like real tired by the end of it, and he has to like take a moment to like catch his breath.
It takes him an hour to get up there.
Well, it takes him an hour to get up there, but then he has to take a minute once he's up to like catch his breath and make himself presentable again to like go in, and it's just like he. You know, the world is not built with him in mind.
Yeah.
Which is like a way of like understanding disability. It's just like, you know, how we build the world assuming what qualities about people.
Right.
And they just assume that, you can just walk up those stairs. It's like, the only people who can't are like children.
Yeah.
Like small children who we don't expect to be going up there anyway. Because it's a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, and he's still treated like a child a lot of times. Like, that's,
sure.
That's a big part of it.
Yep, he's still a child because he hasn't...
that foundation child, everything.
Yep, and it's like, he's treated a little better by his family, but even his family is, like, shitty about it.
Yeah, they treat him the way that they do, like, nicer because he is family, and only because he is family.
Right.
You know?
And it's still even, like, there's, like, levels.
Yeah. And not that Kelso would be, like, cruel on purpose or something, but, like, she also wouldn't, I don't think, go out of her way to
help him.
To help him if it wasn't her family.
Right, yeah. Because Kelso's the sister.
Yes.
And she's probably, like, the nicest.
Yeah.
Although...
she's very blunt.
She's very blunt.
And tough and stuff, but she's absolutely the kindest.
Yeah, and then probably, like, his mom.
Yeah, and Seisha.
And then, like, his dad is...
Duran is...
Yeah, Seisha's the mom, and Duran is the dad.
Yes.
Yeah, and Duran, he's got, like, an injury?
Yeah, he got injured, I think it said in, like, the last 7-year festival.
Gotcha.
Or whatever, he, like, injured his leg really bad.
Yeah, and so he can't, like... He's now also, in a sense, disabled in this community, which is... Yep, it's become so normal for whenever we start recording, the dogs are like, well, now we have to mess with you. Now we have to come in and out. We gotta bark. We gotta get in your laps and stuff. You know, all that jazz. But yeah, this is a community that does not necessarily treat disabled people well. Because he's still like... He wants to be stronger. You gotta be stronger. You always gotta be better at the sacred arts than everyone else, and which is the name of their, like, magic.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's stuck in the past.
Yep, and he's very bitter.
He's stuck in the past, and in the glory days, I could have been somebody. I used to be somebody, in a sense, you know. Like, all these things that I could have done.
Yeah.
And he just, like, really just doesn't have... any time for Lyndon.
No.
He's just like, you're... I mean, like, I don't remember any, like, specific lines or anything, but he just doesn't treat him well until Lyndon starts, like, doing some stuff.
Yeah.
Like, until Lyndon, like... Because we start with all the, like, testing stuff.
Yeah. And then the first bit with, like, Lyndon at his current age.
Yes, in the sort of present tense of the story, is him going out and getting this, like, fruit.
Yeah.
It's, like...
It's a purple orris fruit.
Yes, but the tree, it's like a something tree.
Ancestral tree.
An ancestral tree. When trees and animals live long enough, get old enough, they level up.
Essentially. They absorb vital aura the same way that people do, or like a similar way, and so they can gain in power and.
Because What's Whisper?
Elder Whisper?
Yeah, Elder Whisper is just a regular white fox.
Yep, he's that
just lived long enough to become a sacred beast, and is now this, like... Does he have 9 tails, or does he have, like, 5?
I think 5?
Yeah, I want to think that it was 5, because I was like, if it was 9-tailed, that would, you know...
We're being attacked.
We are being attacked. She keeps trying to lick me in the face, which is rude. I'm trying to do a podcast, Tilly. Tilly... Why don't you respect that we're trying to do a podcast? Tilly's like, I have no concept of a podcast. I only have a concept of licking you in the face. But yes, Elder Whisper is old enough to be a sacred beast. Has 5 tails. You know, the 9-tailed fox is like a thing in Japanese sort of mythology. And also it's like, in Japanese mythology, when a cat gets old enough, when it reaches like 100 years or something, it becomes a bakeneko.
Yeah.
Which again... If you ever watch One Piece, Nekomamushi is Abake Neko.
They call him that.
Yeah, they call him that, and it's like very specifically like he's designed after one.
Yeah.
And so that's how the world works. When things get old enough, absorb enough of that ambient vital aura, they become special.
Yep. They ascend.
And so he's like, if I can get a fruit from this tree that's ascended, that'll give me more Madra.
Yep. He was sent by his mom to, like, find, because, like, she knew that, like, a tree was close to ascending, so she sent him to, like, search for the fruit or whatever.
Yeah. And he goes out, and he finds it. He has, like, script, because it's, like, there are these scripts, and you can, like, put Madra into them, and they, like, do something.
Yeah.
So, he can't do most things.
Yep.
He can generate some Madra.
Yep.
But he can't do most things. Like, he's not taught any of the, like, techniques.
Yep, and it doesn't have, like, an aspect to it, so it doesn't do anything. Because, like, White Fox Madra, like, has specific properties, and his Madra is just, like, pure Madra. It's just...
Yeah, it's just pure Madra. It's not affected by White Fox stuff. And White Fox stuff being, like, illusion and light, like we've said. And so it's, like, later we get instance of, like, his sister, like, pushing some of her Madra into him, and because it's illusion Madra, he gets, like... he like, trips out for a second.
Yeah, basically.
But his is just pure Madra, and he can still activate scripts with it.
Yeah.
And with soul smithing, there are, like, magic items that, like, exist that can be, like, created. So I'm like, there's still things that he can do. He has some tools at his disposal to allow him to do some stuff. And so he goes out, he finds this tree and this fruit, and then some coppers who are poaching.
Waymon Terrace.
Yes, Waymon Terrace is out there poaching white foxes, which, like, technically, if you get, like, the blessing of someone, you can, like...
It's Elder Whisper.
Of Elder Whisper, you can go out and hunt some white foxes, but you're not sort of supposed to.
Yep, it has to be...
approved.
Yep.
Approved by Elder Whisper. And so, there's a little bit of a back and forth there. It's like,
are you supposed to be here?
Are you supposed to be here? And then they're, like, getting all up in his face. And then, like, one of them, like, punches at him and punches the tree. And fucking destroys it. And it's like, you fool! Now there's a ghost tree.
He's like, you idiot! That was an ancestral tree!
And because it's an ancestral tree, it has a ghost!
And so then the tree dies, and its remnant, like, peels itself out of it.
Because it's like, if you have enough, if you're powerful enough, then you leave behind a remnant when you die. And so then it has to deal with that. He traps the remnant in, like, a script circle. Because
it's based on, like, the power of the thing in the circle, so that he, like, tricks it
into walking into the circle and powering this, like, barrier script. So it's like, I don't have enough power to power this barrier script to make it, like, really effective. It can just come right in, but as soon as it comes in, it starts powering the circle, and it's powerful enough to make the barrier work, and so then it traps itself. Which is such a clever little thing, and like, as soon as he did that, I'm like, that's nice. That's good, clever shit. Because also I know that, like, Will Wight, he's like, he's written, like, a few things at this point, but he's like a kind of like an indie writer, indie publishing stuff.
But at that point, I think the only thing he had published was some of the Traveler's Gate series.
Okay. Yeah, so Cradle wasn't exactly his first thing. But it's one of his, like, early things. And so there's always, like, the fear that, like, you know, even if, like, the ideas are good, that, like, the writing itself could be a lackluster, but I think he does a good job.
I really like his writing and stuff. Some of his, like, descriptions, like, some of the, like, White Fox descriptions, I think are really fun, and, like, when Lyndon is training with Kelsa and stuff like that, some of those are really fun.
Like, if you can really do good, like, description of these, like, mystical aspects, and, like, make them feel sufficiently, like, understood, but also, like, mystical and mysterious in a way, that's a good, like, sweet spot. You know, I love a good weird describing things in a way that, like, makes sense sort of metaphorically. There's, like, a joke, this, like, if you're familiar with SCPs, there's an SCP that's, like, a drink machine where you can type in whatever you want, and it just, like, gives it to you. Yeah. And one of my favorites is A Cup of Music. And it just, like, pours you a cup of music, and you drink it, and then you just gain the sensation of music in your head. Stuff like that, you know, where it's, like, weird, like, mixing senses kinds of things. It's some of my favorite. And he does some of that to, like, good effect in here. But yeah,
I like this little bit. It was made from lines of vivid purple, like colors sketched on the world by a celestial painter. The remnant was thin and free of details like bark or leaves, as though it were the purple skeleton of the tree that had once been.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's got good descriptions. He doesn't go on too long.
Yeah.
He's not, like, overly florid per se, but he's also not just, like, not describing things. Yep. You know. You had something else?
No, sorry.
Gotcha. No, you're good. So it's like the coppers that were, like, bugging him, they, like, ran off.
Yeah.
They like ran away, and he stayed behind because he's like, I need to get this fruit.
Yep.
And so he like traps it, and then he like climbs up it to like get the fruit, and he like gets it, but he also gets like really injured. His like arm gets like broken.
I think he gets like thrown off of the remnant and then breaks his arm.
Yep. But he gets the fruit, and it's like because there's like the body of the tree, the withered body of the tree, and that fruit isn't good anymore. But the remnant of the fruit still exists, and so he can get both of those.
And so if it brings them both back to his mom, then she can
like restore it, which is fascinating. But it also means that he has to sort of like I mean, he was going to get it for his mom anyway, but it's like it's like he's like she's got to like fix it, and also he can't just like take it because he wants it. He wants that fruit, but it's for the family. And whenever he gets it back, there's like a whole conversation in front of him. Yeah. About
in his own house after he was injured.
Mm-hmm. Because he is given his own house. He is a part of the community. Mm-hmm. He is taken care of. Yep. But he's only as much as sort of like is minimally allowed, which is still more than our own country does. like
right? Listening to that is like I get that they all get their own like allotment, and like his was just as good as anyone else's. I'm like, wow, that sounds good.
Yep, it's truly it's like this society is in some ways worse, but in some ways, listen. Right. If they would just give me a house and the food that I need to live, etc., like
because they have like their garden and stuff too, and it's like some pretty good space.
Mm-hmm. And so they're like in his house in front of him, discussing who, not him, should get the fruit.
Yep. Whether they were gonna split it like whether like all of it was gonna go to Kelsa, whether they're gonna split it in 3 or whatever. And he asks for just a part of it, and they're like,
and like his dad's like coming up with these excuses and stuff.
And he's like, I could, if we got to Jade, then that would be,
Then I'd get like fixed and stuff, and we could do whatever. And it's like, well, are you close to being Jade? And it's
just a little grumble, and it's like, that's what I thought.
And it's like she's close to being Iron. She'd get to Iron anyway, even if she didn't have it, but And so it's like, okay, well, half to her, half to him. And she's the one who Kelsa's the one who, like, kind of, like...
She makes the decision. And
makes the decision, just, like, cuts it. And she's like, no, it should be the two of us.
Yeah. Because, like, he argues for it. And it's like, look, I, like, fought for this. I have, like... He goes, like, I got injured for this. I'll have scars for it. Like, this is,
And I'm supposed to get, like, nothing out of this?
Right.
But it's like,
she offers, like, Kelsa offers, like, I'll give you, like, my stipend for this long, or whatever. I'll do this, I'll give you this, or whatever. And he's like, no, like, I bled for this. I want, It's
like, if I had your stipend, it's like, it's nice to have more money, but, like, it's not, it can't buy me another one of these fruit that's gonna, like, help me. But no one wants to waste resources on someone who's already weak. It's like, you don't want to shore up your weaknesses. You want to just invest in the people who are already strong. Just, it's like,
we can see that Lyndon, would be, quite an advantage. Yeah. Like, just with his smarts and all of that. Like,
he's clever. He was able to take on this remnant by himself. Yep. Because the other guy fucking fled. And then that ends up coming up when there's kind of, like, not a trial exactly, but him and the other guy get, like, called before the elder. And that guy gets punished for in the perspective of their community, abandoning a child with a dangerous monster.
Yes. Yep.
You had a duty as a part of this clan to protect this person who's weaker than you.
Yep.
You know, because it's seen as dishonorable to attack someone who's weaker than you in that way, who's at a lower level than you. Because it's you can be different strengths within your tier, but if you go to the tier below you, well, that's you're come on now. You're picking on him. Yep. And it's this guy is, as far as our society is concerned, a fucking child, a literal child. He can't fucking use magic. So you have an obligation to protect him and defend him, and you just left him, and so he gets punished. But then he also talks to Lyndon, because it's you shouldn't have gone out there.
Yep. He's like, stay with your mom, and in the clan archive, don't do shit. Don't put yourself anywhere.
Don't put yourself in any danger.
Yep.
It's essentially because again, from his perspective, he's a child. And it's child, you went out alone in the woods. Yeah. Why did you do that? That's so dangerous. We need to teach you a lesson about not wandering off alone in the woods. It's but my mom told me to go get the fruit. And it's well, shouldn't have.
Yep.
And
I'm a little surprised he didn't chastise Stacia for that.
Yeah,
actually.
It's now that I'm thinking about it after the fact, it's it really seems like she probably should have, from their perspective, gotten in trouble. But she might have enough standing to as a soulsmith and everything. Yeah. I have the pup here. She's doing this thing. She'll lay there, but just have her legs just stiff and straight out, and she'll just stand sideways. Yeah. She's just laying down, but pushing her feet against things, and so she's just pushed up against me. And I'm what are you doing, silly? Bend them legs. But yeah, so he gets sort of sentenced to go feed Elder Whisper. Yep. And that's... He's excited. Yeah, he's excited, and it's go talk to him a little bit. He'll give you some advice. Yep. And so he goes up there with some fish. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of fish. And I love his encounter with Elder Whisper, because it's Elder Whisper's eating the food and then creating these doubles who are pacing in front of him. Then one comes up behind him and sticks his head over Lyndon's shoulder and is talking to him and asking him these questions and stuff. And has some vague powers of premonition. Yeah, so can vaguely see the future. I will actually pull that little bit up. I highlight that. Because he's got two different fates almost. A recent fate and then a future fate. Yeah, let me get to Elder Whisper. I think there was one more thing previous that I wanted to say. What? Why don't you talk about previous things? Little fluffy baby. You're such a fluffy baby, yes you are. Yeah, that's what it is. The first thing that Whisper says when he sees Lyndon is, "You have eaten of a wonderful fruit. Tell me the story." Yes, he can immediately tell. Yeah, because before he lied to the other elder, saying that he hadn't had any of the fruit because he knew that he would have gotten mad. Did he just say that Kelsa had it essentially? Yeah, he said that he gave it to his sister, which is true. Which is true. Absolutely. He did give it to his sister. And he didn't say that he didn't eat it. He just said that he gave it to his sister. I love him. I love him so much. He's very good at that. Because it's essentially the only defense that he's had is these social norms. Absolutely. It's the only thing sort of keeping him. It's it's keeping him down, but also it's keeping him sort of afloat, because he can't otherwise defend himself. Right. And in this society that's all about power and strength and stuff, it's they could, kill me or whatever, and they're just so much more powerful, have so much better standing, and I'm nobody and considered kind of useless. It'd be dishonorable, but honor's a weak a weak hook to hang your something on. Yeah, I don't remember where it's somewhere. To hang your hopes on or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, I think it is hang your hopes on. Yep. Honor is a weak hook to hang your hopes on. Is a good one, even if it's not exactly the right saying. But yeah, it's great. It's he's really good at that kind of lying without lying. He'd make a great Aes Sedai. Well, he'd make a great spoilers for Wheel of Time. He'd make a good member of the kin. Because he would not be accepted into the Aes Sedai if we, like, transfer it over.
Yeah.
Like, beyond just the whole men who can channel aspect.
Yeah, but just the
power aspect. If Lyndon was a woman trying to be an Aes Sedai and had a similar, like, power thing, he would not be able to be an Aes Sedai, probably, but would make a great member of the kin.
Yep.
Yeah, honor is a poor hook on which to hang a man's life. That's what it is. Yeah. It's good. It's like, but he's got to hold on with all he can.
Yeah.
And so he goes to because whenever he eats the fruit, he has this sensation of, like, lightning in his stomach.
Yeah.
And he can just, like, feel this, like, energy or whatever.
Yeah, but it feels, like, kind of hot, maybe, and then Kelsa says cold or whatever, and Seisha's, because she's taking notes and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like, what's it like?
We also haven't mentioned Seisha's drudge at all.
Oh, I don't understand it at all.
So it's not exactly the same, but, like, you know how, like, Serial has, like, a voice that's talking to a presence or whatever? It's
kind of like that?
Yeah. But it's not as, like, advanced and stuff. It's specifically...
what does it do? And what does it look like? Because they kept mentioning it, and I had no conception in my brain as to what it did and what it looked like.
Yep. Let's go to a later section where they talk about it a little bit more.
And I think that's more to do with, like, listening to it and, like, getting distracted, but because we were both listening to it together, I was hesitant to, like, have us go back sometimes, which I should have.
Oh, I'm always fine with going back.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, it was your phone, and so I'd have to be like, hey, could you go back? And you know how I am.
I got you.
Yeah.
Because it's when she's checking out, like, the Lee clan and stuff at the festival is when we kind of really get a little explanation on the drudge. So maybe we can talk about it then.
Gotcha.
We'll get to the drudge later.
Gotcha. Yeah, so, she's, like, taking notes. He's like, it's hot. She's like, it's cold. Alternating hot and cold. And he's feeling these effects, and he's still feeling them for, like, a while.
Yeah.
And so whenever he goes up to see Elder Whisper can, like, sense it, and it's like, tell me about it. And so he tells him about it. And Elder Whisper is, like, talking to him about, like, his path, like, having to forge your own path. Yeah. And it'll be, like, difficult, but it'll be good. And
yeah, it's,
and he asks him, like, questions about, like, golds. It's like, can a gold... because, like, gold is, like, the highest level that they conceive of. Yeah. It's, like, wood, copper, iron, jade, and then gold is, like, the hypothetical highest that they can achieve, but, like, no one's, like, there. Yeah. Like, no one is gold, but gold is sort of, like, their idea of, like, the hypothetical of the highest. And, it's like, can a gold shape the,
it's, what are the sacred arts? When does that path reach its end? When an artist's spirit is as pure as gold. Gold was the final stage of any sacred artist's path. Is a gold practitioner one with the heaven and earth? Does he control everything in creation? Can he create worlds and break them at will? The obvious answer was no, but Elder Whisper would not be satisfied by the obvious. And then this one is unworthy to even guess at such profound answers, Elder. There is no profound answer here, young man, or young human. The answer is no. Yeah. But does the path not end with gold? The spirit has no limit, nor does the sky. How could a true path have an ending? If you have studied until the end of the universe, you would still not have touched true comprehension. The path of the White Fox is but one among countless others, and none reach the end. Yep. When a traveler cannot find a path, sometimes he must make his own. Yep, and so you gotta make your own path. You gotta do your own thing. The White Fox is only one way. Yep. It's only one way, she Linden. But this talk about, like, the path, and also about being one with the heavens and earth, and shaping all creation and stuff, it gives me big Journey to the West vibes. Yeah. But, like, the path is big Taoism, because the Tao is the path. Got you. But also Buddhism, because Buddhism talks about, like, the path as well. Got you. Where it's like, the sixfold path or whatever. Yeah. And the being one with the heavens and the earth and all of creation, being able to create worlds and stuff. That's very Buddhist. Yeah. Where it's like, if you are a Buddha, if you have achieved enlightenment, you can, like, in some conceptions of Buddhism, you can create your own Pure Land. Yeah. Which is, like, your own world within the realm, like, within the cycle of samsara, within,
there's multiple worlds, and you can create your own, like, world, your own pure land as a Buddha, and so it kind of, like, reminds me of that.
Yeah.
And, like, walking the path forever, like, walking the path of enlightenment or whatever. Kind of reminds me of that. Yeah. You know, the endless cycle, the endless path.
Yeah. And I know, like, Will Wight has said that, like, it is partially kind of inspired by, like, Journey to the West and such. Yeah. Like, other progression fantasies and, like... Yeah, and Journey to the West is, like, you know...
It's a big part of it, because, like, Journey to the West involves, at least with, like, the Monkey King early on, there's a lot of him, like, eating, like, he eats, like, some fruit that make him immortal, and he takes, like, an elixir that I think also makes him immortal or something.
Yeah.
He takes multiple things that make him immortal. He's like double, triple immortal for some reason, which is very silly. It's like, how do you become more immortal by like having these pills and this elixir and this fruit or whatever?
Yeah.
It's very silly.
Yeah. The pills and elixirs and fruit type of stuff, like aspect to like Journey to the West or whatever, is just so like a part of like the magic system and stuff, which is fun.
Yeah, it's just like, if I just get the right magic items, you know.
Yep.
I think about like Pokemon, like rare candies.
Yeah.
Are you familiar?
Ish, yeah.
Yeah, because like...
I've played some Pokemon.
Yeah, because it's like a rare candy just like levels you up.
Yeah.
Although, rare candies, if you're an actual like nerd about it, aren't the best. They just level you up, but they don't give you some other bonus shit based on... Because it's like...
That you would get otherwise?
Yeah, because there's like IVs and EVs, and I don't know what those are. There's like... Pokemon will have stats that it inherently like will like level up faster or slower based on its like personality, but then also EVs like based on what Pokemon it fights. It like different stats will like level up more. So it's like if you fight certain Pokemon and beat certain Pokemon, then your Pokemon stats will be different.
Gotcha.
Or something, and I think that's maybe EVs, effort values, or something. And so, like, a rare candy doesn't give you EVs or something.
Gotcha. I thought you were saying, like, EV, like the Pokemon at first. Yeah. And it took me a minute to be like, like the letter E, the letter V.
Yeah. It's confusing. There's EV, the Pokemon, and there's EVs, the leveling thing.
I know EVs...
The Pokemon.
The Pokemon evolve weirdly and have a bunch of different ones. So, like, I was fully on that path for, like, a while. A little bit of that explanation, and I had to recalibrate.
Yeah, because there's EVs and IVs, and I think IVs are, like, the inherent value or some shit. I don't know. I could grab Ethan and make him explain it to you. Just, like, call my friend Ethan and be like, Ethan, explain EVs and IVs to the podcast.
I love it.
But you can look it up. Bulbapedia exists. I'm sure they have that.
Google is a thing that sometimes works.
It used to work. It doesn't work great anymore. Bulbapedia, though, support Bulbapedia because they're a
non-fandom one?
Yes, they're a non-fandom one. They've existed for so long, and I think they're part of sort of like a system of wikis that are like independent wikis, because I know that like the Hollow Knight wiki was like trying to like migrate from fandom to like their own thing. Never go to fandom. Never go or migrate there or start there. Never. It's the worst wiki. It's the worst for making wikis. It's so bad. It's so bad, truly. It's just you like if you've been to any fandom wiki, you know the ads, the scrolling you back up to the top of the screen randomly. It's just it's awful. It's so bad to use. Yeah. And like Coppermind is like the like Cosmere one. That one's great and nowhere near fandom or anything. Oh yeah, there's the A Song of Ice and Fire wiki. The one that's specifically like for the books and has existed since a long time ago is a wiki of Ice and Fire. Yeah. And it's really good. The old wikis are a lot better than new wikis. Always like they're like because they were made in a time before fandom made it easy to create your own shit wikis. Yep, you could create your own wiki pretty easily, but it'd be shit because it's on fandom and fandom is shit and does shit that sucks. Yep. Fucking like if I have to if I'm looking for a wiki and it's only on fandom,
I'm not going to that wiki. Like, I'm, like, I'll go to Reddit.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Right, yeah.
Like...
Yeah.
I'll ask a question, Reddit, and then search for Reddit answers, because it'll be easier to find there.
Right. Yeah, there's a YouTube channel, Mossbag. He is a Hollow Knight YouTuber guy. And he did a video talking about Hollow Knight fandom migrating its wiki, and was talking about that stuff. And I just love, because at the very end of the video, he's like, "Now, I've been very negative about fandom." And then the video just ends.
Yes.
It's like, no, I've said a lot of bad things about fandom. End of video. It's great.
Anyway,
that's neither here nor there. I got way off track about that.
Yeah.
But yes, the fruit. Eating the fruit.
That's what we were talking about.
And Elder Whisper is like, you've eaten this fruit, and he tells him about it, and so you gotta make your own path.
Yep.
And all this stuff, and then Lyndon leaves, and then Elder Whisper is like looking at his like future or whatever.
Yeah, we get like a little bit of Elder Whisper's perspective. And he talks about so first he's like, he had spent the past like 5 decades in that room or whatever, and I also like compared to the excitement of his younger days, this was a perfectly satisfying way to spend a few years.
Because he's been alive for like centuries, or at least a century probably. So it's like, What's a few years? Yeah,
seriously.
What's a few decades? It's like the giants in One Piece. What's a few,
Yeah. And so then talking about the path of the White Fox, he says he uses both light and dreams. For the most part, a dream was nothing more than a mind deceiving itself. Only rarely did dreams tap into greater forces, but when they did, they could reveal pieces of fate. Over the years, Elder Whisper had developed a sense for that fate. It was distant, imperfect, but he could dimly see the shapes of impending events. The Unsouled is connected, his reflection said. He could be, Whisper corrected him. For centuries, the shape looming in his dreams had been dark and impossibly vast. It would crush all of them beneath its ponderous weight, and there was no stopping it. Sacred Valley's past was coming back and bringing death with it.
Right, yeah.
And then, but there was something strange about his premonition this time. Somehow, he felt as though the titanic threat were years distant and months close at the same time. One and then the other, like fate had yet to describe. And then he says that he sees a kind of touch of fate on Lyndon.
Yeah.
Like in his eyes and stuff.
And we know what that means. Because, so part of the thing is that you've been into Cradle for a little while now.
Yes.
And you would, like, tell me stuff about it.
Yeah.
And show me little, like, bits out of context and stuff. So there's going to be certain things...
That you kind of know.
That I kind of know. And as soon as I heard that, I'm like, okay, so I know about that already.
Okay.
Because you had talked about how someone comes and, like, destroys everything and then gets repelled back, and then Lyndon sort of starts on his, like, journey.
I kind of want to ask you what you know.
Oh,
So I'm going to say spoilers for the rest of the Cradle series right here.
Yeah.
I just want to know what you know.
Okay, so what I know is... I remember you saying that, like, he starts in this place, powers everything, and he doesn't have power... And guy comes in, kind of wreck shop. Someone comes in and like fixes everything, but and like then Lyndon kind of like starts off on his journey, and that like the thing's gonna like come back, and like destroy everything later. And so he's trying to sort of like prepare for that, And there's some sort of twist about that I don't remember exactly. I think something about like somehow like Lyndon didn't like cause this or whatever, but like him not being there causes some things to happen or whatever. I don't remember. That part is like vague, and I feel like I'm probably wrong about. But I know that we get a glimpse at the end of this section that we've read of Yeren, who's Blade Lady.
Yeah.
Blade Lady with the red streak in her hair.
Yeah.
She uses Blade Madra or something. It's like
Sword Madra,
and it's like she can make any blade, any like edge, like cut from like a distance.
Yeah.
So it's like, imagine, if you will, a blade, and the sharp part of it creates like a plane that extends out from the blade, and she can just like, it's like if it's like hold a knife over your hand, but it cuts you anyway because it like extends the blade kind of.
With the techniques that we know now, what do you think?
Striker.
Okay.
I would assume Striker, unless it's some sort of weird, like, ruler shit, where it's like, if, like, I use your vital order to, like, cut yourself, kind of?
Yeah.
You know? But she can affect multiple things at once, I think, I assume, and so maybe that's, because you're talking about ruler being AoE, maybe she's like, I'd say ruler or, Striker, because it seems to be an outward kind of thing.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, I don't think it's a thing that she's, like, I don't think she's, like, soul-smithing the blades. Maybe she is.
Yeah.
But, like, I think it's something else like that. Doesn't she have, like, she has, like, a...
You've seen pictures.
I've seen pictures, and she's got, like, the blade arm thing that comes out.
Not yet.
Not yet, but, like, I know that's, like, a thing.
Yeah.
And you're talking about, like...
I forgot, we're doing full spoilers.
Yeah, we're doing full spoilers.
Yeah,
we're talking about, like, the stuff
yeah.
that I know. And there's a guy who has a broom.
Yeah.
He's a janitor, and he's way too powerful. He's pretending to be weaker than he is. He's secretly super powerful.
Yeah.
And he's, like, blonde.
Yeah.
And he like, explodes himself in a fight one time. He, like, intentionally loses a fight by, like, exploding himself.
Yep.
But he comes out in, like, a big fancy way, and he's fucking Prince Ali.
Oh yeah, he's got his name spelled out above him in, like, remnants or some shit. Like, it's wild.
It's like, and then he's like, hell yeah, and then just, like, the person attacks him, and he immediately explodes. And he's like, fuck you. It's great. So that guy exists, and he's like blonde hair, blue eyes or something, and is like secretly super god tier awesome, but is pretending not to be, and he's a janitor, and he has the cleaning aspect or some shit. and the universe is like a multiverse. And there's like branching multiverse shenanigans, and things are being corrupted. We get a little bit of that.
Yeah.
We get a little bit of that in this actual section.
We'll go into more of surreal stuff in a little bit.
Yeah, and then I'm like, there's other people, and you've mentioned them, but I only remember, like, those two. I remember Broom Man and Blade Lady.
Yeah.
And then, like, I'm sure there's others.
Yeah.
And Lyndon, he want more power. And you played me something at one point of, like, some sort of, like, competition, or like they're gonna, like, hunt sacred beasts or something and gain power from them or something. Yeah, just something like that. Yeah. That's mainly it, I think, as far as, like, the stuff that I know. Yeah. I think that's it. I don't think I can conjure up anything else. I'm like, there's more people, I'm sure. Yeah. Like, I get the feeling that there's, like, at least one or two more people who are part of our, like, crew. Yeah. But, and there's, like, something about a maze or something at some point.
Okay.
I feel like that was because, again, you've played me, like, little bits of the audiobook out of context, and I'm like, someone's, like, trapped in a maze or something, or they trapped something in a... I don't remember. Yeah.
I could not be placing something, so... Yeah,
I'm just, like, I don't know, like, I create...
Oh!
Did it come to you?
It did.
Okay, cool. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's, like, random stuff all over the place.
Yeah. Like... It's like I know that we end up kind of all over the place. Where we're flying around to different worlds, probably, because Cradle multiverse shit, I imagine. Or we're just on Cradle, I guess. Because we do get that, like, we see some of the wider Cradle world, and we see people who are, like, crazy strong. So I guess because it's the Cradle series, we probably just are on Cradle. Yeah. We're not, like, bebopping around the multiverse. But I feel like we could. I feel like we could be... I had assumed that we were bebopping around the multiverse, but now that I'm thinking about how much stuff there's, like, on Cradle... Right. And that, like, we need to save Sacred Valley and stuff, I'm like, maybe we just stay on Cradle. I had assumed that we, like... Because there is multiverse shenanigans, that we bebop around the multiverse. Yeah. But, yeah. I think that's what I know.
Yep. That's good.
Yeah, so I guess that's... And
random little spoiler section.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, yep. I'm excited because like back in the present.
Yeah.
We're preparing for like the 7-year festival. And at the 7-year festival, like, do other clans show up, or is it just that all the families in the Way clan kind of get together?
So it's all the families show up before we do like his fight between like him and Terrace. Not Terrace. It was going to be against the 10-year-old girl, and then it's against the older guy before the festival. But everyone is preparing for the festival.
Everyone's preparing for the festival, and he's trying to like learn stuff.
Yeah. And so. It's the 3 different clans in Sacred Valley. The Kazan, the Wei, and the Li clan.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think there may... I'm not certain if there's other clans that are smaller, but they're the 3, like, big ones.
They're, like, the 3 big ones, and there's maybe other, like, smaller clans. So the 7-year festival, it's a Wei clan thing. It's not, like, a multi-clan thing.
What is?
The 7-year festival.
The 7-year festival is the multi-clan thing.
It's a multi-clan thing. Yeah. Okay, because I had asked that, and then I thought that you said that it was just a Wei clan thing.
I wasn't saying that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, because I was like, because I said it's a multi-clan thing or multi-family thing, and I think you said multi-family thing.
Oh, yeah. And no, I meant multi.
Yeah, because I'm like, there's the clans, and then there's the families within the clan, you know. But Lyndon has to learn to be Neji.
Yep, because he's searching for some sort of way to like fight
without one of these like aspects or whatever.
Yeah.
He's looking for like techniques that are like, because he's not allowed to study like
it's the three class.
Yeah, because he's not allowed to like study a path, right? Like the path of the White Fox. He's not, because like there's other paths and like they know about them and stuff, but he's not allowed to study anything.
Yeah.
And so he has to try and find techniques or whatever that you can do with just.
Yeah. Because technically he can look at technique manuals because he shouldn't really be able to use it, but
right. Yeah. And he's only able to like find one.
Yep.
That you can use without like doing the whole absorbing vital aura stuff, and without like using specifically like Fox, like the like dream and light Madra or whatever.
Yep.
And it's this technique for splitting your soul.
Yep. It's called the Heart of Twin Stars.
Yes, and it's like I was fighting this guy who I hate.
I love this whole letter is hilarious, and I love it.
I feel like he's read old things like this. Because you do find like these old, like these ancient like instruction things that, again, they're like modern recipes. There's like a story along with them, and the way that they describe them is very specific. And he's like, this guy, he would do this thing where he like hits you with, because it's not gentle fist. It's open palm.
The empty palm.
Empty palm, yes. Which is similar to...
Yeah, I leave this manual out of obligation.
Yes. Because karate, te is hand/arm. Yeah. It means both or either. And kara is empty, so it's the empty hand. Yeah. So it's like when you're fighting someone empty-handed, that's karate. Yeah. And so like empty palm kind of makes me think of that. And it's he does a neji. He does a neji. He does a I can't think of her name now.
Kylie.
No. Yes, but also no. That's not who I was thinking of, but I did also think of her.
Because they're very, like... Whenever I think of, like, Neji, I think of...
Yeah, but, you know, the one, Hinata. Yes. I
almost did the exact same thing as you, where I was like, the girl, what is her name? And then you... where you do like the gentle fist, where it's like you do like the chakra pulse, and it disrupts their chakra, so they can't do stuff. Yeah. And it's the same thing, but it's Madra. Also, this is like just an odd little thing. Just a weird personal story about watching Naruto, and it's like Neji and Hinata have that fight in Naruto. Spoilers for Naruto, I guess. And Hinata gets the shit kicked out of her by Neji. And I remember being younger and like watching, and they're like slowly panning up Hinata's like body, and they're like doing like chest compressions or whatever. They're like doing like first aid on her, and I'm like, we're really
just like on her boobs for a while. And I just
slow pan.
Yeah, just like slow pan. And so like I don't know. Whenever I think about Hinata, I'm just like I just like think about that because she's always like she's like so shy and stuff, and we're just like we finally like get her like big like coat like unzipped or whatever for them to like do the like first aid on her, and I'm like why are we getting so much Hinata boob right now? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. It's just like such a thing that I remember watching Naruto growing up because it's like it's a very like serious like moment,
right?
But I'm just like anyway. But yeah, it's cool because it's like he's like hit him with the Madra blast and blast. Like
wind,
like a little gust of wind. And disrupt their Madra so they can't use techniques. And he's like, so you split your soul so that you split your core so that it only hits one. And you can still use Madra. And he's like, this is useless to me, but it's like, this empty palm technique is sort of like kind of described in here. It's not like described how to use it,
but just like the effects of it.
So we can kind of like get a sense of like maybe we can try and recreate this. And the guy's also like, I don't know how he masks his aspect or whatever because you need pure Madra in order for it to like work properly, because pure Madra can affect like people's
spirit directly,
while the like colored Madra, that's how I think of it as
that works,
because like purple, they describe it as being kind of like purple and white or something.
The white fox Madra is like a purplish color,
and so it's like because it's like because when what's her name, sister Kelsa, when it's so close to Kelsier.
Yeah.
And we were just reading.
We can do like She Kelsa or Way She Kelsa.
Way She Kelsa. But no, Kelsa, whenever she hits him with it, he trips out because he's been injected with like Dream Madra or whatever, and so he starts like tripping out. So it doesn't have the same effect of like disrupting,
of just fully like making it so they can't use their Madra.
It instead has like a different effect, which could still be useful. But you know, people already do like the Fox Dream thing. But it's like, what is she? What is Kelsa? Is she an enforcer? Is she
believe
a striker, ruler? What is she?
Yeah, I think she's a striker.
Yeah. So you know, I feel like the empty palm thing would be very sort of like up her alley in that sense, sort of sending Madra out like that. Because it's like because like the rulers can trap people in Fox Dreams. If she can just like pump you full of that, then like I wonder if it could give sort of like a similar effect, you know?
Yeah, she's pushing it directly into his core. I don't think it says specifically
what her one is. Would it maybe be something you could look up? Because it's not like super important figuring out which one she is.
Yeah, I think she's
okay. Yeah, like I said, it's not super important or anything. You know, I'm sure that if it's important, it'll be made clear as continue reading or whatever. I don't know if she's gonna end up being part of our like crew or not. I could see her being part of our crew, or I could see her being sort of left behind when he leaves. But you know, I figure if it's important, it'll come up. But what were we talking about before that?
The empty palm. We were talking about him learning that and stuff.
Yeah.
With Kelsa.
Yeah, because she injects that into him and blah blah blah.
Yeah, and has all of these.
And she does it like over and over again as she's like trying to figure out how to like do it properly so that
and does not really give him a rest or anything, and just
no,
like, if you can't, what you want to be, what you want to be worthless or whatever, to him and all of that, and he's like, ouch, but fair. And I'm like, are you sure that's fair? Like, that's a lot of times, like, it's kind of internal thing. He's like, ouch, but fair. And I'm like, no, it's ouch. It's just ouch.
It's just ouch. It's not fair.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of, like, the thing. Like, you know, what ends up sort of happening is, like, he learns it. He has to fight this one guy. because of honor stuff involving the other guy getting punished and like, oh, gotta fight this 10-year-old or whatever. And it's like, if he beats her, it's like, well, yeah, of course you should have beat her, but you're like the 18-year-old beating up this 10-year-old.
Yeah.
But if you lose, it's like super shameful and all this sort of stuff. And so he's like, I'm gonna fight this big guy, one of the like bigger members of that family, and doing like the hit for hit thing. And it's like it's a good thing for, it's like, gives him, we have this fight, we go blow for blow, and it's like sort of allowing him to punish him.
Yeah, like, I look good for like having the like courage to take the hit. You look good for being merciful. Like,
all this sort of stuff.
Win-win.
Yep, and then he's like, he hits him with the empty palm and then punches him.
Yeah, he panics.
Yeah.
Because he's like, he expected him to, like, because it's, if you take a step back or whatever, you lose. So he expected him to take a step back, and he didn't. His mantra was disabled, but he didn't take a step.
He didn't take a
Lyndon
step.
Panicked.
He was just like, whoa. And so then he like punches him, and the guy does, I think, take the step back.
Then he takes a step back.
And then he's like, all right, I lose.
I surrender.
And then he wants to hit him anyway because he cheated. It's like, and he lost.
He lost. He forfeited
He surrendered. If you fight him, that's going to be shitty for you. And so it's like, but the fact that he did successfully knock him off guard as someone who's unsouled.
Yep. Like, it should not have been able to happen.
It shouldn't have been able to happen. So it's like a huge deal.
Yep.
And it makes him seem stronger. And it's like, oh, he lost. But like, the story of how he toppled
toppled an iron. How a like Unsouled toppled an iron or something.
It's gonna be like a whole big thing, and it's like, yes, did it or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like, was that at the 7-year?
It's a little bit before.
A little bit before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like the 7-year festival like happens.
Yeah, because he's like training for it for like a little bit after that like fight and stuff. And
he is like fighting all of the like kids. He's got all these like kids that he's supposed to fight at the 7-year, like because there's like a tournament for the for the foundation
stage. Like, so there's like tournaments for each like stage, for foundation, copper, iron, and I think jade.
Yeah. And he trounces all these children because he has this one ability that like stops their techniques, and then
he's way bigger. He's I think he's like 17 and like said to be large, like he's very tall, like built,
because there's sort of the irony is not exactly the word I'm looking for, but like the sort of the irony of like, he's big and tall and strong in that sense, but he can't do the magic. He can't be a sacred artist, and so he's like weak. Yeah,
and that also kind of plays into like him having to make himself like weaker, more humble, more like all of that type of stuff, because he is so like big and stuff too. So it's like what he does, it kind of is like can be seen as an insult or whatever, because it's like or like a threat, even though he couldn't actually
couldn't actually do anything. And so he's able to beat all of these children because he's able to turn off their magic briefly and then just like push them out of the ring,
and everyone's just laughing and everyone's so happy
and everyone's booing
and he's like, hell yeah,
it's like, haha, I did it. He's just like, he's so like, yes, I fucking did it.
Like, I did it as a sacred artist, not like I didn't because he cheated. He got stuff ready. We passed up the whole remnant. Him going to go get remnants.
Because like, he goes and gets some like ghost bees.
Yep, you get some boast geese.
Boast geese.
Some boast geese.
Some boast geese. He gets the ghost bees and he convinces them to get in like a jar, and he buries them under the arena or whatever, so that he can like get them and use them to like cheat and win the fight.
But he doesn't need them.
But he doesn't need them. And then there's like an exhibition match for like someone from like, where people from like 2 different tiers.
Yep, so if someone from like lower tier can challenge a higher tier for like...
It's mostly just sort of like, kind of like, they're gonna win, but it's just sort of like a learning, training kind of thing. And he picks someone who's...
He picks, like, the, like, patriarch or whatever picks his grandson. Who's like one of the top people who's up for going to one of the schools that are like all about the sacred arts. That's all they do. He's up for one of those positions.
Right, because we meet the patriarch of the Way clan, and he's a Jade.
Yes.
And he's like a big dude.
Yeah, he's the first Jade we've met.
Yeah, he's the first Jade we've met. And he's like a big deal. He's a super big deal because he's the patriarch of the clan.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's he like? He's like, he was like kind of nice, but then also like...
He was sucking up to the schools.
Yeah.
And, you know, that meant more to him than this kid... And his whole deal, like, you know.
He's like, you should, because I forget exactly how it goes. Cause
he wants to, he's basically like, the schools are uncomfortable by your performance, so just don't do the exhibition match. Like, but he has a deal with the other guy that he'll get path training if he wins the exhibition match.
Right, yes, because he goes and talks to, like, that one elder.
Yes. So he's like, I have an actual promise from someone, and I have this guy saying, don't do it, and then I might, then, like, maybe I'll help you. But he's like, eh.
Yeah, because it's like, oh, maybe that'll give me, like, favors with, like, the clan patriarch, but it's like, you know...
That's a maybe, and I have...
A guaranteed thing where, like, that... Because it's like the elder who, like... sentenced him earlier to like go feed
Elder Whisper
and the one who like punished the other guy, and also he like interceded in that fight because the guy was like that iron was like gonna like attack him anyway whenever he like forfeited the thing, and he like stopped that or whatever, and it's like you can like I'll let you like learn a path if you win the exhibition match. And so he's like, well, sorry, but I'm doing the exhibition match anyway, and that gets interrupted.
Yes.
Because the Lee clan is doing some shit.
They're summoning.
Yep, they're summoning, and the mom is like looking out for that. She's like spying on them, and she knew already that they were like doing some experimentation with like teleportation, like sacred arts based.
They're looking for like specific remnants and stuff.
Yeah, it's like a bat and a mole and something else, and they have some sort of like weird teleportation-ish powers or whatever. And they're looking for them, and she's like, it's a fool's errand trying to like teleport or whatever, but I'm gonna keep an eye on it anyway. And the Lee clan is able to successfully do their summoning, and they summon their old patriarch, who's like now a super powerful being, a super powerful demon being thing.
Yep.
And he's like one of the previous Lee patriarchs or something, right? Who like left or something. And is this when the Drudge stuff comes up that you were wanting to talk about?
Yes, it is.
Is it Drudge or Dredge?
Drudge. D-R-U-D-G-E.
Gotcha. Drudge. Interesting.
Okay. Drudges were all the tools a soulsmith required rolled into one. They could measure a Madra output, determine its aspects, analyze the parts of a remnant, and even help separate that remnant into its components with minimal loss. Soulsmithing primarily revolved around deconstructing and reconstructing remnants to take advantage of their unique properties, and without a drudge, it was almost impossible to do it accurately.
Right, without a drudge.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to do it accurately without a drudge.
Yeah.
What does it look like?
Hers looks... So, here's a description of someone else's drudge.
Okay.
In the same scene or whatever, she's like looking at someone. His own drudge, like a gleaming steel sword, too fat and dull to be of any use to anyone, sprouted antennae like a pincushion. He listened to its whistles and checked something on a scroll and stuff like that. And so then...
So I guess my real question, more important than what does hers specifically look like, do they look like anything in particular, or can they look like anything?
They can look like all sorts of stuff. Here's hers. The brown shape only croaked in response. It currently looked like a toy fish floating over his shoulder, but Lyndon had seen it unfold into many other forms.
Okay, so it can kind of just look like anything.
Yeah.
It's just a thing that floats around.
Yeah.
And it floats, it's not like held or worn, it like floats?
I believe so. Yeah, floating.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because that's... Yeah.
Yeah.
So she has the drudge. It can do those things. It does basically like it like reads Madra or whatever. And
yes.
like
Yeah.
it, you know, it's her little Pokedex for for Madra and remnants and stuff.
Yeah. So she mentioned that
and helps like take them apart and put them back together to do like soul smithing.
Yep. And then also like track them and stuff like that, track remnants and stuff.
Yeah. It's a little info thing.
Yep. Yep.
Gotcha. It's her little familiar.
Yeah. So her drudge could track a remnant based on a sample, like a hound taking a scent. And while trying to track 3 scents at once would be complex, it was worth attempting. So then that's how she found the remnants.
Gotcha, that they were using
to summon him. That's how she found them.
Gotcha.
She was tracking those remnants.
Right. And so the Lee clan summons their old patriarch, who looks demony now.
Yep, he's got huge, like, almost bat-like wings, or whatever.
And they're, like, black and white or something?
Yeah. I kind of want to show you fan art of it, because there's some really cool fan art of Lee Markuth.
Yeah, because Lee Markuth shows up, and he's pulling an Arlong, as I called it, where he's trying to sort of big fish in a small pond himself.
Yes, absolutely.
He was from here.
Here's a fun one.
Gotcha. Yeah, he was like from here.
Here's from like the animation that they're trying to do and stuff.
Gotcha.
But it's not a great picture.
Yeah, it's real blurry for some reason.
Not great quality.
Yeah. it's very rude of it. But yeah, he shows up. He's like trying to take over because he was like from here, but he like left and he learned a bunch of shit and like because did he dimension hop around or something? Considering that, like, Angel Lady shows up and, like, beats his shit. And he's like, no, I'm from here.
Yeah. So he says that he was, like, he was from Cradle or whatever, and that he didn't violate the pact and stuff or whatever. And so they're going to have a trial. And Suriel also mentions that, like, it'll add to his sentence that he was communicating with this world for, like, a while, trying to get himself summoned.
Right, so he wasn't on Cradle anymore, and they had to summon him back to Cradle?
Yes.
Got you, yeah. Which makes me think that we're going to get off Cradle at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's beyond gold.
Yeah.
It's like he shows up and they give him like a gold badge and he's like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. He's like, oh, I'm beyond gold at this point. And he shows up and just is like, I'm gonna fucking fuck this place up.
Yep. He goes, I got 1 day. This is my 1 day to take over the valley. That's all I got time for.
Why does he only have 1 day?
He just wanted to do it in a day. He's just...
Yeah, so he's like, I'm gonna do it. And it kind of like interrupts this exhibition fight that's gonna happen. Yep. And Lyndon's like, it'll be fine. Because at first he's like worried about like the exhibition fight, and he's like, I won't die, but like I will get real fucked up by this fight, but that's okay. But it gets interrupted by Lee Markuth, and Lyndon is like, I gotta do something. And so he hits him with the...
Yeah, he's like, well, maybe that'll do, like, something, because it, like, works on, like, spirit, and, like, he heard that, like, maybe golds were all spirit.
Yeah, it's so, like, golds, like, their bodies are, like, partially, like, made of spirit or whatever.
So maybe it'll work more.
And no one's, like, no one knows anything about this shit. Yeah. They're not expecting it. And so he tries it. Nothing happens, and he's like, yeah, of course nothing happens, and then he gets killed. Yeah,
he gets smacked in half.
Oh yeah, because he's like, my legs are gone, this must be a dream.
Yep.
It's quite something. Yeah. It's like, obviously this is a dream. At least this is just a dream, and like people are like screaming and shit. It's like, why are they screaming? It's just a dream.
Yeah, and it's really sad because he looks like and like meets eyes with Kelsa, and then sees his dad, like not even looking at him, kneeling and like looking towards like Lee Markuth and like looking at the battle. Yeah. And he's like, and he's basically like, and that hurt. Even if this wasn't real. Yeah. And it's just,
It's very sad. But then he gets revived.
Yep. So then we go to, like, Suriel's perspective as she kind of sees...
How is that spelled?
Suriel?
Suriel. Suriel. Okay,
yeah.
Suriel.
Yeah, very angel.
Yeah, so I've been calling Angel Lady.
Yeah.
Anime Angel Lady.
I mean, yeah. And she mentions, like, a Machiel and an Azriel. So, like, very...
Yeah, because there's, like, someone who's doing shit.
Yep. I do want to go back to... because we kind of skipped over Suriel's
Yeah, because we've been just sort of, like, focusing on the, like, Sacred Valley stuff. And because, like, the other stuff was a bit more sort of, like, asides, where it's, like, sort of commenting on it, but still just sort of, like... This is the part where it's sort of, like, intersects, where that stuff sort of, like, intersects, and so... Now is the point where we get to kind of talk a bit more about Suriel.
Yeah, let me find her bit.
Because she, like, reverses time or some shit. Like, undoes it.
I need to just look through my anime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this time, instead of highlighting in a physical book, you're on Kindle.
Yeah, it's easier in a physical book.
What are you looking for?
I was just looking at.
What are you looking for?
First time she shows up.
Gotcha.
Why can't I find this?
When you say the first time she shows up, do you mean, like, shows up physically?
No, I mean, like, in her perspective.
Okay, because that's super early.
That's what I thought, and I was looking, and I can't...
Yeah, because it's, like, the first thing that happens. Like, we start in her perspective.
When she first comes into Cradle, Suriel lurched from the way.
Okay.
That bit.
Gotcha. Okay. So it is when she first shows up in Cradle.
Yeah. This is her first time being in her perspective.
So those reports aren't from her?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I'm not 100% certain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, continue with what you wanted to...
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just confused about what's what.
I don't remember what I was looking for anymore. Yeah, because I wanted to talk about the Suriel sections, because we haven't really talked about them at all. Yeah,
because Lyndon dies.
Yeah.
And then she shows up and saves everything.
Yeah.
And then you were wanting to talk about, like, her perspective stuff, which I assumed meant, like, some of the earlier stuff with, like, the reports and whatnot, like the reports on the, like, it's like report access, that sort of stuff. I assumed that was connected to her, considering once we're, like, with her here and she's talking about it and she's, so whatever. I don't actually know what's going on. So, what do you want to talk about with Suriel?
I don't know, there wasn't anything specific, just, like, as she was, like, looking around, like, first coming to Cradle or whatever, before she even noticed that there was anything going on the other side, like, going to, like, search for anything. Okay,
because she knew that something was going to happen, though, right? Because she knew that something was going to happen in Cradle, that's why she's there. She's like...
No, she's in Cradle to hide. She's in Cradle for... So, yeah, she had a whole other section previous... Where, so she basically, she's like, what is the purpose of your visit? The presence inquired. It was an innocent question, as the presence was innocent. Recovery? The presence asked. And so then there's a bunch of locations that appear all over the place for, like, recovery of Abadan artifacts. And then education, places of historical and cultural significance lit up. Entertainment, sky dancers, all these other things. And then business... and then she starts thinking about Azriel and all of his stuff all over Cradle.
Right, yeah, because I was like, there's something with that, because we're talking about Suriel and the other things, and there's, like, some guy who's doing some shit. Yeah,
so she's like, business? Before she could stop it, details of Azriel's life spooled out on the spectral display. The mountain under which he had been born in a dark chamber of stone. The ruins of the library where he had once developed his own path. The pillars where he debated the 10 greatest scholars of the day, leading 3 to commit suicide soon after. The city of anvils, sealed now where he had forged his first weapon. The labyrinth where he died and returned to life. The country home buried beneath a meadow now where his fury had first touched the way. And so she says... she had been a fool to come here in the first place. She was the phoenix, not the hound, the healer, not the detective. She didn't need to find Azriel, she needed to find the aftermath. And so she's searching for, like, that.
Okay.
And so then she's basically talking more about Azriel and why he left. It was She needed a moment to think, here in a world outside it all. A world that, though it was torn in an eternal, thousand-sided war, existed in isolation. For her, that meant peace, time to consider. Maybe she could solve some small problems as a break from the cares of an entire universe. Right. Problems, and then shows all the problems nearby. And then she's like, oh, spatial violation. That falls under me. I can go check that out. This is a good excuse to not be...
doing what I'm supposed to be doing right now.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So there's that, and because I'm like, she does know that something's about to happen, but it's because she's looking for just like...
yeah, just distractions.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah. She's not here just for this guy.
Right, yes. And what's he doing? What's his problem? What is it, like, why is what he's doing illegal or whatever?
Lee Markuth?
Yes.
That is... he says he's not violating the pact. She says he is. Mm-hmm. Violating the I think it's Avidari Pact or whatever. We don't know what that means. Just that he's violating the pact somehow by having a bunch of communication with this world and then coming down to rule over it.
Gotcha. But he's like, I'm from here, so it's fine.
Yeah, so it should be, yeah.
Gotcha.
So maybe there's some sort of intricacies with that.
Yeah,
or something.
Because it's like someone from outside trying to come in and take over the place is probably not allowed. But he's like, no, I'm not from outside. I'm from here, and I left and I came back.
Yeah.
Blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was all.
Right. I'm all off track now.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And then now we're back with like Cyril in the present and stuff.
Right.
After Lyndon died or whatever, she like saw that, oh, like this is happening now. Okay, now I'm intervening. Oh, and what's this guy doing? And sees Lyndon.
Okay. And then saves him.
Yeah.
And saves the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then they have their little interaction where it's like, yeah, you're gonna forget about all this.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna like reverse time, essentially.
Yeah.
And keep this from like ever happening, right?
Yeah.
And because she also shows him his fate.
Yeah.
Or his sort of most likely fate, because fate's not a precise art or whatever. Or it's not her like specialty.
Right.
And shows him his fate, and he's gonna like, he'll survive this. The elder will let him study whatever.
Yeah.
What's it called?
The Path of the White Fox.
The Path of the White Fox. And he achieves copper. Yep. And he gets to marry. And he lives a full life.
Yep.
And it's like things go like well for him essentially in that
happily
way.
ever after.
Yep. But then something's gonna show up and destroy everything.
Until everything crumbles to dust and he's dead. And everyone's dead.
And maybe that's Lee Markuth coming back. I could see that because of the way that like Elder Whisper put it.
Yeah.
Of it's like this thing that's going to destroy all of us is like a few months away, but also simultaneously years away. And he's not seeing them as two separate things.
Right.
But it's kind of the same thing, but he also just knows that something is going to do it, so maybe he can't tell the difference. But my guess is that like Lee Markuth is going to like come back. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a completely different something is going to show up and destroy everything.
Yeah.
Who knows? You, but not me. And so he's like, sees that everything's like, oh, things actually like go well. Like I'm able to like pull through and do all these things. Like Unsouled aren't allowed to marry, but I'll become copper and I'll be able to marry and it'll be all nice and it's very happy. It's very sweet.
Yeah.
But then he dies, a little early.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you live like a full life. Like you die like, slightly young, but not like so young. And also everyone dies.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever. I was like, man, what can you do? And it's like, I need to do something about this.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you won't remember and all this sort of stuff. It's like, I'd have to like pull you out of...
Yeah, out of fate.
Out of fate in order for you to like remember. And he's like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for doing that. And she's like, because he's great. And so she like takes him on like a tour around Cradle, showing him a bunch of like really strong people, and like this person has the power that could stop this.
Yep.
And then this person has the power that could stop this. This person has the power that could stop this.
Yep.
Like you'd have to like get as strong as them, And if you want to start, you'd start with this Blade Lady. But it comes across like a few different people. There's like a guy who dives down into the ocean and fights sacred beasts or whatever.
Yep.
There's
North Strider, Path of the Hungry Deep.
Yeah, and there's a girl who was like locked away until she achieved what he would consider gold.
Yep.
At the age of like 6 or something.
Yeah.
At the age of 6 or whatever, she's already like what he would consider gold.
Yeah.
Which, at 8 is when they first get like tested or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's like, obviously there's ways to get stronger faster. And there's also like a group of people who have armor that makes them super strong, and they're a nation of 6 people or whatever.
The 8-man empire.
The 8-man empire. Yeah.
Yep. And she specifically talks about Larian.
Larian Studios, the people who made Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, she was just like, because he was like, is she gold or whatever to Larian, and like about Larian, and Cyril's like, if like 10,000 golds like all got together and went against her, it wouldn't be able to scratch her armor or whatever. So something to that effect.
And Larian's one of the 8 people?
Yeah, 8-man empire.
Gotcha, because you were just saying Larian, I'm like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah. Path of the Eightfold Spear.
Path of the Eightfold Spear.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, and so she's essentially just like, here's how strong you need to be.
Yeah.
Here's like, you've been in a very small pond. And if you want to be able to stop the thing that's coming to destroy everything, you need to get stronger. You need to leave. You need to, like, leave home, run away, and go find Yaren and get stronger.
Yeah, she's like, you have 20, maybe 30 years before disaster strikes.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's like, you live like a full life, and you die a little young. It's like, well, 20, 30 years?
Yeah.
He'd only be, like, 30 or 40, like, almost, like, 40, 50, depending, It's like, that's still, fairly young, all things considered.
Yep.
Fucking a fox can live 100 years and become a fucking
yeah.
a sacred beast, so like shit.
Yeah. And she's like, it's gonna be really tough, and like none of those people I showed you did it in 30 years. Mm-hmm. So like,
well, I mean that one kid became gold at like age 6, but they're like an adult now when we like see them, right? They're not like a 6-year-old when we see them.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah, she's like older than that or something. But it's like,
and supposedly a bunch of golds could go up against them and not do anything.
And it's like, but also it's like, what you would consider a gold is whatever. It's like, if a gold or 10,000, it's like, well, then, like, where does gold come from? What, like, they have this concept of a gold, but no one actually is gold.
Yep.
But then everything, like, we don't see anyone who is gold. We only see people who are stronger than gold, whatever that means.
Yep.
Gold means nothing to me.
Yep.
That's the one thing. It's like, gold doesn't mean anything to me.
Yep.
Like, what would it mean for him to be gold? Is there another thing, like how whenever you become iron, like, what happens when you go from iron to jade?
Yep.
Does, like, another physical transformation happen? Like, yeah. And these things I'm sure will be explained as Lyndon goes through these steps, but it's like, how do these people have a concept of gold considering that no one's gold?
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of people who are way beyond gold, but they don't use that system, seemingly?
Yeah.
So.
Like, it seems like Lyndon's, like, sees, like, anyone stronger than Jade is gold to him.
Yeah,
like, that's the same, that's where he's at.
Yeah.
He has no.
I get that. I'm just like...
I'm trying to...
Because we have no... Because it's like... Gold is just it's just above jade. Yep. So it's like, if like 10,000 gold. So it's like, but we don't have a baseline for a gold.
Yeah.
We don't have, like... They're all gold as far as we're concerned because they're just above jade.
Yeah.
So it's like, to be like, 10,000 golds, they don't exist. Golds don't exist. If you said like 20 billion jades or whatever, at least we have an actual estimate for what that means. You know what I'm saying? Or at least Lyndon would. So that's more what I'm trying to like get at with that. It's just that like they're throwing that around and I'm like, but what does that even really mean?
Yeah.
So I'm just like, it's like here's what you need to do. It's tough, can't do it in 20, 30 years, but if you're gonna try, start by going to Blade Girl here. She's not strong enough to defeat whatever's coming, but this is like a place to start.
Yeah, but she can get you out of Sacred Valley, which is what you
Yes.
need to do to get stronger. She's
Right.
like, you have to leave your family and get out of here.
Yeah,
like,
you gotta
there's
get out,
nothing
yeah.
for you to learn here. Get out.
Right, yeah. Yep, and that's...
Yep. And points him to Yeren, who is...
Yeren Ager.
Who's getting ready to fight, like, eight irons.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Gotcha.
When we see her.
Gotcha. Yep, and that's like the last thing that we see for this chapter, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because this in some ways feels like it could be sort of an end of the book, and it's like, and then here's what you need to do, like sort of opening things up like that.
Yeah.
And so I'm curious what the other like half of the book is going to be. I mean, it's going to be about getting out of Sacred Valley and stuff, but then it's like where are we going to end in this book? What's going to be sort of like the big thing that's like that we like accomplish in this book to
Yep.
Yeah, so curious about where we're going.
Do you think
forward.
he'll leave Sacred Valley by the end of this book, or do you think it's a next book or books after thing?
I think we leave Sacred Valley this book.
This book.
Yeah, he's got to move quickly.
Yep.
He can't stay here. He needs to leave. And they didn't do it in 20 or 30 years or whatever. So we gotta.
Yep. We gotta get going.
We gotta get going. So I imagine he leaves this book.
Got you.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that then. It's good. I've been enjoying it so far. I enjoy Lyndon as a character. I hope the things that I sort of hope moving forward are that he continues to be clever. Like as he gets stronger and stronger, I want him to sort of keep having to sort of be clever to fight people that are stronger than him and stuff. I don't want him to just like, and now suddenly I can just curb stomp everyone.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's still about him being clever, using tricks. I imagine his path will be that of pure Madra, that he's not ever going to have sort of an aspect like that. Maybe that's not true. Maybe he'll learn how to mask his aspect like that one guy did, seemingly. Maybe it'll be something more like that. Like, I don't know that his path is going to be, like, the path of all paths. Like, I can do everything, or if it's just going to be, like, I can do this one thing. I sort of focus on the, like, empty palm type stuff, the pure Madra kind of stuff. Because you can do a lot with just, like, scripts. And, magic items.
Forged stuff.
So it's like there's a lot that he could potentially do. I do want to come back to Sacred Valley. Because it's like, he's like, he wants to save Sacred Valley.
Yeah.
And it's like we see his like family and that he loves them and that he cares about them, but we also see the society has not treated him well.
Yeah.
And I want him to understand that. And for there to be like, in like he gets stronger and they're gonna be like, oh great, you're so strong and stuff. But like, is that gonna be enough for them? Are they still gonna be like, fuck you to some degree? Is he gonna learn that like, no, these guys were like shitty and treated me poorly? He'd still save them, of course, but just sort of like, I just like for there to be, there's the worry that in like getting away from Sacred Valley, there's the opportunity to like learn and see things differently and sort of have like a broader cultural perspective. Like getting outside of my culture where it's all about like this like strength and and like having this like unsouled stuff. It's like I don't want to just be like might makes right, sort of like no, they're right. You do need to be really strong and whatnot. Like I want him to sort of like have to learn something outside of that, and for that sort of like way of thinking to be challenged. So those are sort of my like thoughts about things moving forward.
I'm excited. I'm very excited for the rest of the series and stuff. It's exciting. It seems like it'll be a whole big fun thing. And I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, me too. I'm also glad that I'm enjoying it. Alrighty. Do we want to move on to like what else we've been reading, or do you have any other stuff you want to talk about with this section? I don't think so. I don't think I have anything that I've read recently other than the memoir that I talked about last time. I don't know that I really have anything else either. That I didn't already talk about. Just like, the stuff that we've been reading for this and like, Game of Thrones and stuff, sort of getting back into it a little bit lately. But I was already kind of talking about that stuff, so.
So yeah, so I think that's kind of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess this has been Let's Talk About Book.
Yeah.
And now you can go forth and think about book on your own time. Have a lovely whatever time it is.
Have a lovely day.
Bye-bye.